So these, the New Balance Hierro V8, were one of my surprise trail running shoes of 2024. And when I actually tested them out, I really didn't know what to expect. And I actually thought I wouldn't get on with them, but it turned out that I really enjoyed running in the shoes. And I've actually almost racked up 300 miles in this pair, including a couple of 50k races. And I just find them a very easy, comfortable trail running shoe to run in. But the Hierro has just gone through a big update too, the Hierro V9. Now, there has been some big changes made this time round, so let's dive into the video and find out if the latest version of the shoe is going to live up to that very comfortable Hierro V8, or have some of those changes that New Balance made spoil one of my favourite trail running shoes. Welcome back everyone, thanks for tuning in again. I hope you are all fit and well out there in YouTube world. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. So as you can imagine, buying lots of different running shoes to test and review on the channel can add up over time and cost a small fortune. So I've got to give a big shout out to Runners Need for sending us a pair of the Hierro V9 for the purpose of this video. Really is a big help and greatly appreciated. So what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description to their website, so definitely go along, show them some Run4Adventure love, go and check out what the guys are up to and all the different running brands that they stock. But first up, in our first impressions video today, let's give you guys a few facts and figures. So the latest Hierro 9 retails here in the UK for £140, and when you take into consideration the fabrics used, the quality of manufacturing, the foam in the midsole and the rubber on the outsole, I actually think that's a pretty good price. And we've also got a deep stack of cushioning in that midsole. So we've got 42mm at the heel, 38mm under the forefoot, giving the new Hierro 9 a 4mm offset. So quite a different midsole when you compare it to the 38mm, 32mm split on the Hierro 8, which gave us a 6mm heel offset. So some big changes going on in that midsole setup. Weight-wise, my pair in a UK 10 tips the scales at 335 grams. So unfortunately, that is a 25 gram increase in weight compared to the previous version. And I've got to be honest, I'm never a big fan when that happens in an updated shoe. So obviously, by increasing that stack height of cushioning in the midsole, it has had a negative impact on the overall weight of the shoe. Starting at the top with the upper first, and we've got this nice soft engineered mesh construction, and I'd say the overall design of the upper isn't a million miles away from the upper on the Hierro 8. So we've still got a nice soft plush padded gusseted tongue. It does look like New Balance have added a fair bit of padding to that ankle collar and in the heel cup, and it does feel and look a bit bulky now, and I'm not sure that was necessarily needed because I found the ankle collar and the heel very comfortable in the previous version. And I just hope that this doesn't have a negative impact on sort of midfoot lockdown and heel hold, but I guess we'll find out when we take them for a run later in the video. It looks like we got some lock-in loops halfway down the lace system there, and we've got some good substance in the back end of the shoe from a nice substantial heel cradle. Really happy to see that New Balance have kept in their toe protect technology. So that is a real top quality toe bumper in the front of the shoe. So shouldn't have any issues if you do happen to stub your toe when you're out running on the trails. Moving down to the midsole setup, and this is where we're seeing some of the biggest changes. And like I already mentioned, you've got a much deeper stack in the latest version of New Balance's very soft Fresh Foam X cushioning, and this is actually a dual density setup. So that's been designed to offer you that nice plush comfortable ride but maintain a bit of stability. And actually, if I put the two shoes together, you can see there really is a lot more cushioning going on in the latest version. And that was one of the things I really enjoyed about the Hierro 8, was it gave you a nice comfortable cushioned ride, but it wasn't over cushioned, so you still had a good level of sort of ground feel and connection, so the shoes felt pretty stable when you picked up any more technical trails. So I really got my fingers crossed that all this added cushioning isn't going to turn the Hierro 9 into a disconnected, unstable trail shoe. And then flipping them over to reveal another big update, and that is in the form of this 6mm lugged Vibram Mega Grip rubber outsole. And I think this is a really good move by the brand. So the previous version did have Vibram rubber, but it was their Eco Step rubber, which actually performed pretty well out on the trails. But this is definitely an upgrade in the grip department, having the Mega Grip. Also, there was a much less aggressive 4.5mm lug on the previous version, which really did struggle for traction if you picked up any muddy trails. So I actually think this new design on the outsole is going to perform way better in tough UK trail running conditions. So you can see there is some big updates this time round for the Hierro franchise. Some of those updates really excite me, and others I do have my doubts about. So, you know, is it going to be a thumbs up or a thumbs down for this upgraded model? And I suppose there's only one way to find out. So I'm going to pop off, get changed, get these on my feet, get them laced up, and we're going to take them out for their first run. So we'll meet you guys in Tahiti Woods. Okay, so we've made it to the woods. We should have perfect testing conditions today. We're having a great spell of weather down in Cornwall at the moment, some beautiful sunny blue sky days, and we've got another one today. So we're going to try and achieve sort of 7-8 miles on today's first test run. Let's get out there, let's get these miles done. Sure is beautiful in the woods today. It's going to be a good run. It is a warm one in the woods today, but absolutely stunning. I'd much rather it was like this than blowing a gale and pouring down with rain. And so far, so good. Just come up to 4 miles on the run and body's feeling good. I actually had my longest week of training last week since I injured my hamstring. So I managed to get in 41 miles and the body felt nice and strong, and just great to get back to some consistency. And we're going to start ramping those weekly miles up now. And we've actually got our first big event of the year coming up next weekend. As far as the Hierro V9 goes, this is something that I always recommend when I'm testing out New Balance shoes on the channel, and that is going up at least half a size, because they do size quite small. So what I mean by this is, in most running brands I take a UK 9.5, so Brooks, Asics, Saucony, Nike, Topo, Ultra, Reebok, Puma, so lots of brands a UK 9.5, but I always go for a 10 in a New Balance shoe. And I actually say always. There was once, many years ago, I went with a UK 9.5 in an old Fuel Cell road shoe. The shoes felt great, super comfy, lovely to run in, but I just ended up with lots of black toenails. So I did learn the hard way. So I'd always recommend going up at least half a size in a New Balance running shoe. I've got a nice lockdown around the midfoot and a good secure hold in the heel, and it's actually nice having a gusseted tongue this time round in the Hierro model, because the V8's just had a standard tongue. I still got a good midfoot lockdown, but that tongue did slip around now and again. It's not doing it in this version. So the run's going well so far. We've hit 4 miles. We're going to try and get 8 miles in today, so let's get running. Okay, so that is 6.5 miles ticked off, and we are heading back to the adventure bus. And so far so good for the first run. So the upper and the midsole is feeling nice and comfortable, but definitely noticing that deeper stack of cushioning in the midsole. There's been a couple of times where I've picked up some rooty technical trails, and I definitely felt like I had to really concentrate to make sure that I didn't lose my footing or roll my ankle, because at the end of the day, I'm higher off the ground, and you put more cushioning into the midsole of a trail shoe, you lose ground feel and connection, and that's something that I never really had when I ran in the Hierro V8, and that's one of the reasons why I like the shoe so much. Obviously, the flip side of that is the midsole feels super comfortable, great levels of protection, and nice and bouncy. So it feels like I'm getting lots of energy return on the firmer trails today. But we're gonna get this run finished, we're gonna head back to the studio, and then we'll wrap this video up with a quick conclusion. Right, we are back from the wonderful Tahiti Woods in all that glorious sunshine, and it was super busy in there today, but I don't blame everyone because it's such a great place to go when the sun is shining. But I got a solid 8.24 miles in my legs, and body and shoes ran really well. And to be honest, if I had a bit more time, I would have probably kept running and got a few more miles in. And that's always a good sign when it's your first run in a brand new shoe. Obviously, I've already mentioned that there's been some big changes this time round in the Hierro model, and I would say it's pretty much a brand new shoe from the ground up, and it really did sort of feel and perform like a very different shoe out on the trails, especially when it comes to midsole performance. So having this deeper stack of fresh Foam X cushioning in the midsole when you compare it to the previous version, the Hierro 8, really does make the shoe feel very different underfoot, and I noticed that as soon as I got running. Now for me, the midsole changes have some positives, but they also have some negatives. So firstly, I did feel like I was a fair bit higher off the ground, because obviously I was with this deeper stack of cushioning, and that did seem to take away a bit of proprioception and connection when I compare them to the previous V8. So whenever I came across a slightly more technical section of trail, I really did feel like I had to concentrate on where I was putting my feet. So I would say the new Hierro V9 is more suited to those sort of flatter, compacted trails, and they do struggle a little bit when it gets a bit technical. I'd actually put these in the middle, somewhere between the New Balance Fresh Foam X More Trail V3, which is a crazily cushioned trail running shoe, and I really did struggle with them when it came to stability when I was running on uneven ground, and the previous version, the V8. So don't get me wrong, this isn't a crazy unstable trail running shoe, but I definitely feel like I had quite a bit more connection and ground feel in the Hierro V8s. Obviously, on the positive side, this midsole did feel very comfortable out there today. So on the compacted sections of trail or any tarmac, it soaked it up really well, offered good levels of underfoot protection because we've got that nice deep stack of cushioning, and it felt like it was giving me good levels of energy return. So if you do like a nice cushioned, bouncy feel to your trail running shoes, then I dare say you'd enjoy running in these. Just like the previous V8s, the upper felt comfortable and performed well straight away, so no rubbing, no irritation after that 8-mile run. And I'm also happy to say that even though New Balance have added quite a bit of bulk and padding around the ankle collar and in the heel cup, that didn't affect my lockdown in a negative way. So still a nice secure midfoot hold and no movement or slippage in the heel. And finally, outsole performance, and as you can see from the footage there, we've had some nice hot sunny weather for the last few weeks down in Cornwall. So had lots of compacted paths, loose dusty trails, and obviously we were in the woods, so lots of rooted trails to deal with. And as you can imagine, this 6mm Vibram Mega Grip rubber outsole handled it all with ease, so no issues. This deeper 6mm lug seemed to offer me really good levels of traction on any loose gravelly trails. And you know, if you've ever run in a trail running shoe with Vibram Mega Grip rubber on the outsole, then you'll know how sticky this rubber is when you're out running on wet, rocky trails. So I actually think this outsole design should be able to handle most underfoot trail running conditions. So wrapping up, after my first run in the new Hierro V9 from New Balance, and it was a good first outing, and just like the previous version, I found them very comfortable and easy to run in, and it was also nice feeling a little bit more bounce and energy return coming from that midsole, and they really do feel like a trail running shoe I could spend a lot of time in, especially if I was running on dry, sort of firm, compacted trails. But there's no denying it did feel a little bit less stable than before. So if you're the type of trail runner that likes to feel super connected to the trails because it gives you confidence, then maybe the Hierro V9 wouldn't be the best option for you. However, on the flip side, if you do most of your trail running on towpaths or gravel fire roads, crossing over to a bit of tarmac now and again, then I actually think the Hierro V9 does that stuff well, and it would be a comfortable and bouncy option. But just remember, make sure you go up at least half a size, because that's going to give you enough length in the toe box. And there you have it, my initial thoughts on New Balance's latest cushion trail running shoe, the Hierro V9. A quick apology, I know it's taken a while to get hold of a pair. A lot of you have been asking if I'm going to be testing out this shoe on the channel. So again, a big shout out to Runners Need for hooking us up with a pair for the purpose of this video. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed it and you found it helpful, to like, comment, share and subscribe. Only takes a second to do, just by clicking on that little red box down there in the corner. But best of all, it is completely free, but really is a big help to the channel and greatly appreciated. If you have any questions at all about the shoes or running in general, please feel free to get them in the comments below and I'll try and get back to them as soon as possible. But for now guys, thanks for watching and supporting the channel, it really is appreciated. We'll be back here soon with some more interesting running content, and as always, stay safe and keep on running. We still get a nicely padded gusseted tongue, although it does look like a new, I was going to say Innovate. It's not Innovate, is it? It's New Balance. I just hope that this isn't going to have any sort of negative impacts on lockdown or heel hold, but I guess we'll find out when we take them for a run. Looks like we got some locking laces halfway down that lace system there, and we've also got something else. Let me see if I can remember. Something, locking loops halfway down the laces, and good structure in the back end of the shoe. Got it. Let's do another take.